What's up, guys? Another episode of Twisted Toast. Coming off the rage that is Sora. Have you got a chance to play with Sora yet?
Sora?
Sora, yes.
No, tell me more.
Oh my God. It's the AI video creator
The
that
thing you've been making your videos with?
I've been making my videos on. But here's the really weird thing. There is so many people out, unless this is just the algorithm of Sora, which I don't think it's to be the case. But there's so many people making chiropractic content that are not, they're making themselves into chiropractors and doing weird stuff. So it literally is professional wrestling and chiropractic is coming together finally. And I
I've
don't know if
seen
that's
'em.
my algorithm, but it's like everyone else's too. So it can't just
Yeah.
be my
Well,
algorithm.
that's probably because there's so few of them and so many
Yes.
people that
But,
Yeah, when
but
we were in Chicago last weekend, my husband's son was showing some of those videos, and his kid loved them.
so it's a great opportunity to have some fun. Obviously, like, it's creepy as fuck. You don't blink. The AIU does not blink. And I told my wife, if you ever see me come in the house and I'm not blinking, run. AI Twisty is here.
Maybe
Um,
that's why you can't take your eyes off of it, because I keep watching, I'm like, "What's weird about this?"
there's so much creepiness and weirdness to it, but for me, it was creatively like just like, oh my God, the sky's the limit. I can do all the stuff I've been wanting to do with comedy ads and stuff like that, but in short micro doses and stuff like that. But you know,
I'm
how was
glad
your
you're able
week?
to fulfill yourself.
Thank you. How was your weekend?
It was good, it was busy. I did a bunch of stuff at my office, like electrical things and reorganizing and making my life more zen in my space.
What does that look like?
I don't know, a lot of work for little, I don't know. Because I tried to get these 24/7 lights put on a switch with this other switch. I did this awesome job. I fished down the wall, like I drilled a hole and I got one of those like fish tapey thingies and I got it into an existing box through a hole that's like this big. So I was
Yeah.
pretty proud of that I got the tape fisher thingy through that, which was a feat in and of itself. So then I think I do all the right things, and then I hooked it up wrong and I blew up one of the little controller boxes, and then I went back just to the original switch that I had, and I thought I had it all figured out, except that the lights were on all night last night, and the lights inside of the office were on also. But when I go in today, the lights were off. I was able to turn them off. So I don't know. We'll see what happens tonight. It's fun. It's like working with a human being. You know, you do a little this, you do a little that. Wait and see what happens next.
Do you feel like do you turn on like a man brain with that stuff? Cat always teases me because I can't fix
Man
shit.
brain? Man brain? No, it's not a
That's
man brain.
not
It's a
man
woman's
brain.
brain, in
It
fact.
is. Okay.
It's one of my doppelgangers. Her name is Martha Vila.
Martha Vila, she can do anything.
She's a love child of Bob Vila and Martha Stewart.
Imagine, actually, that'd be a good looking person.
And Mel Guyver is my other one.
MacGyver from MacGyver. Remember
So
that show?
yeah, I know. I do remember that show. So put me in the wilderness and see what happens.
Well, speaking of like 80s and nostalgia and stuff like that, everyone's getting ready for Halloween. Do you dress up at the office for Halloween?
No, but you know what? I almost wore a different wig today, but it looked so bad. I just went with the
Do
same
you
old.
do you wear the wigs at the office for Halloween?
I've been known to wear a wig at the office, yes,
Okay,
a
but
long
not just
time
for
ago.
Halloween, for anything.
No, just for Halloween.
What?
That would
What
be
was
too much, dude. It's too much for them just to wrap their heads around all the education I give them.
what was your favorite kid costume when you were a kid? What was your favorite Halloween costume as a kid?
Probably Wonder Woman.
Ooh, Linda Carter edition, right?
Yeah, and I was Rainbow Bright once too. I'm pretty sure
Rainbow
Twilight's
Bright.
for life.
What was that one? I gotta look that up. Hold on. Rainbow Bright. Was that?
It was, bright and full of rainbows.
Yeah. That's a cool fucking outfit. That's like a raver outfit now. I was
We
always
need
a
to
vamp.
put Rainbow Bright actually into a Wonder Woman costume, and that would be like everything.
That would be everything. That
You
would
should
be.
do that with your AI. I want you to make that.
Okay. So turn Rainbow Bright into Wonder Woman. Make them all. Okay. We'll try that out. Um, my favorite was I was always a vampire for years and years and years. I wanted to be a vampire, and I think I've turned into one now. So the
Oh,
truth finally happened. I don't know how it happened, but it just is. I can't sleep anymore. I'm like just getting like I've been working on chiropracticresults.com for like feverishly. And now I'm getting so excited because you got to cut your profile. You got to get your profile out there. Not just everyone listening. Melba
You're like
has to,
manic about chiropractic results.
because I,
I love it.
I'm gonna share behind the scenes. Okay, so this is everything I've ever done in 20 years coming all together, and it's the fruition of everything I've wanted to do. To see that we I came up in my youth, in my 20s, with a startup called Doctor Base. Some people know that story. And the whole thing with Doctor Base was we were one of the first companies before Sked, before Review Wave. We were one of the first companies, one of 3 companies doing automate your review collection process and get those yellow star ratings on Google and help your listing stand out and help get more new patients. And we also had automated reminders, and we were the first kind of ahead of the time for that. And we've seen like the last 20 years kind of stand still in time with those companies. No one's really evolved anything. I got off a call earlier today with CairoHD in the early morning before my flight, and I'm excited about what they did with buying Sked. They bought Sked. They bought Spark, which I know nothing about. I'm going to find more about Spark.
I know a little bit about Spark.
Tell me about Spark. What do you know about Spark?
It's basically like a clean up your digital footprint type of a service, as far as places that may list you as a business, and
Brilliant.
and then it makes sure that all of your listings are consistent across whatever those listing platforms are. That you don't have any old addresses that are on there, stuff like that.
Got it.
I believe that's what it is.
That's cool. And they have AI bookings for new patients. So they have retention proofing stuff. They have reactivate inactive patients, which
That's Spark?
Yeah, that's what I see too.
Well, then I'm totally wrong.
Well, they might have done the other stuff too. That makes sense.
Maybe I'm thinking White Spark.
So they got, things to help the practice grow. But like for me, here's the thing. At the end of the day, after doing all these on-sites, you guys get such tremendous results. I mean, you really, really do. In a world where like people aren't getting results with their healthcare providers, chiropractic does, but we don't do anything with that data or anything with that information or anything quantifiably or qualitative. And so that's why I've been so excited to see, okay, let's put the data into a system. Let's let the system work with other systems, and it's telling and it's working. And so to go from a hypothesis to actually working is one of the most exciting things. And I think you turn into a mad scientist / vampire, and that's what's happened to me.
That's awesome. So what parameters did you decide to use for tracking and recording?
This is the cool thing. So I built an AI parser in it, so you can just tell it and it will start pulling, if it's just whatever you want it to be. So if you want it to be quantitative, you want it to be mathematical, here's reduction, here's improvement of this, and this, you can do that. If you want it to be qualitative, you can do it qualitative. So everything and anything is readable.
So how are you having people put their information in then? Just telling a story, or is it data points?
They can tell data, they can do whatever. That was the biggest, great question. That was the biggest challenge because everyone's different. So I made it open-ended. If you want to be data, it guides you to be data. If you want to be more story, just tell the story. It works with anything. The AI in the system will put it all together and for you in a nice package that's readable from Google and from AI. It's beautiful. And
awesome.
And then I added my favorite thing, because I've been on this kick, and you know this for you, endorsements. Because here's one of the biggest search terms, what do other doctors think of chiropractors? Well, why don't we game that situation? Why don't we get our other providers and put our endorsements on? So I stole this from Avo years ago. Avo was so ahead of its time. Avo was the lawyer directory. It still is. Is it still around? Let's see. I think it is. Yeah. Avo is still around, still have its directory, 1.1 million lawyers on there, and their attorney profiles. Let's see if they still have what I stole from them years ago. They have, this looks, so I got to steal more shit from them. They have practice areas, which is a graph. They have awards. Doesn't look like they have their endorsements anymore. They have the lawyer reviews. I don't know why they got rid of their lawyer endorsements, but basically on Avo, you could see what other lawyers, other colleagues said about other lawyers. I love that idea. So I stole that years ago from them, and I've been trying to put that to use on people's websites for years as content. But everyone freaks out. All chiropractors, man, it's like they're such pussies about stuff. They're just like they're literally like the dude at the table before doing blow that's like, let me see if you die first. Like, don't
As
you
far as
think
getting data out of there, what are you trying to say?
getting anything done, like just doing anything, like the fear of doing anything, the fear of asking other colleagues and providers for, hey, could I put your endorsement up on my website? Shit. Most people will be like, hell yeah. Like, of course. The amount of asks that are out there that we're just not asking is crazy. It's crazy to me when it comes to referrals, endorsements, testimonials. That was one of the biggest things of being on site is like, 90% of the people that you see are more than willing to be like, on the first ask, like, yeah, of course you can film this. You can film my home visit. Like, I think everyone should just get cameras, put them up in their office now and just hit record all day and just live stream that shit.
It's not a bad
Like
idea. I thought about that back in the
there's
day,
not like turn it into a gamification of stuff, but it's
like
just like,
watching sports.
yeah, like we already know that users, people out there, consumers love to watch adjusting videos and jerk off to them. Probably. I don't know what it is, but I still don't get that. But I mean, some of those docs
I
out
think
there that
people are fascinated by chiropractic because they don't understand it.
really great point. Do you see that with do patients start sharing that with you?
Like the fascination and the lack of understanding.
The fascination part.
But yeah, I mean, every time someone's like, oh, like all the things that people do, I call it, the chirogasm, right?
Chirogasm.
Yeah, I think in that way. I think that was something that was really interesting that my husband told me about is the guy that had been adjusting a very notorious individual recently, and some of his like people are in their circle of influence. They has recently said, I got adjusted and I love it, but I don't know exactly why I was doing it, right? But it felt so good.
Yeah.
It just felt so good. And I'm just like, yeah, and it's funny. I'm glad that this actually came up because I was thinking about a few things actually. I was thinking about the factions of chiropractic, and it's not just mixers and straights. It's mixers, straights, and mechanists. We have three factions, but
What's the Mechanist faction?
I
Is
think
that
the
the
mechanists they're based on pain. They're
Yeah.
pain mixers versus like a philosophical mixer. So that would be like the midline between each of those things.
Where do you think you fall into?
I'm a philosophical mixer who recognizes that people have feelings and sometimes those feelings are pain.
Yeah.
Because, like, here's the thing, and I've been thinking about it a lot, especially because you brought up the ICA FWC thing,
Yeah.
So I got some intel on that, and that's where I came up with the mechanist, mixer, and straights. Because I feel like up to this point, I've only ever really thought about mixers and straights. And I'm like, okay, mechanists,
So
that works.
what would you call a doc? I love that you brought up feelings, and this has come up. Trent, the wave is out there. The surfers are out there. The train is pulling up to the station now of mental wellness and chiropractic bridging together. It always has been on there on a surface level, and it's funny because Steve Judson from D is always usually that's been one of his big talks about his brother and brain injuries and stuff like that, and the depression. And my belief, and I think the train is at the station, that more docs incorporating thoughtful mindness above atlas subluxations, as we like to joke about, like actually working with patients on a conversational or coaching level of mental wellness. Would that be what would that be? Philosophical mixer, or would that be a whole new entity into this? Because the train is coming. My questions for you is, the train is coming. Do you see the train coming yourself, right? Do you see that, like talking more with your patients, being more involved in their mental wellness? Do you see that yourself? Do
Do
you
you
want
do
to
that with
stay
my
away?
patients? But I'm almost bigger picturing it. I'm thinking about feelings, and I'm going to go to two different ends of the spectrum. I feel like, and the train is on the same track.
Yeah.
And the train might have actually gone more towards what you were just talking about versus I'm also talking about actual like pain feelings, right? So you have emotional pain too, which is definitely cerebral, all that kind of stuff. But like I'm talking physical pain, right? And I feel like if you're supposed to be a philosophically sound chiropractor, you don't ask people how they feel or what their symptoms are. It's only always about optimization. And I was thinking,
Mm-hmm.
well, the mechanist cares more about their pain and maybe not so much, and maybe they think about optimization, but they know that that's just their lane that they're staying in. So I think that it's important to meet anybody as a doctor, as a practitioner, like where it is that they are at, because we all know that chiropractic does help people with like physical pain.
Yeah.
But we also know ultimately that it does help with above atlas pain as well. And I definitely think that there's a lot of positive things that can come. I mean, even in school, we go for psychology. We have like a whole class on it. At least we did at Parker. And
Yeah.
the most valuable thing I got from that, and so what I hear you saying is anyway, but um, I think that we have to recognize that both of them still apply, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think that they've always applied. I think that there's always been a component where we see that above atlas component, and can we not monopolize, but can we take advantage of that component of branching into more parts of that with healthcare as chiropractors? I think so. Absolutely. Instead of doing like an adjustment and physical rehab, you could do like an adjustment and mental rehab. I would imagine that people that are the neurodiplomats, they probably have some of that next level above atlas stuff obviously going on.
Yeah.
And I would say that's almost more mechanical, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's interesting because being on all these on-sites and getting I do a why they buy, which was kind of evolved from Harvard Business School, why they buy questionnaire. So it's more than just a testimonial. Like I try to trigger and get like selfish human desires out of why people, why'd you decide to actually go on this journey, and just to note what that's about. I've written about this in the Spiz, but it's literally like what McDonald's used to figure out how to sell more milkshakes. And what they found was that it wasn't people were buying the milkshakes because of the sugary drink or, giving it any type of like physical impact. It was replacing a job for people. The majority of people that said it gave me something to do on the way to work or coming back from work, gives me something to do. And there's a selfish reason why everyone does everything. Cause it's funny, cause the average patient that you guys see will deal with their issue for, I think the data I have is about 2.5 years for most, like if it's carpal tunnel, if it's shoulder, if it's like, they've lived with pain. People can live with pain. There's a reason why that they go and say, I'm done living with this pain. And Dan Bay from Close for Chiro can tie that to life effects and sales. Like I want to pick, the cliche, I want to pick up my grandchildren again. I always say it's, I want to bang my wife again, right? Like, it's like, Viagra is a great precursor to what can get done in the medical allopathic world if you want to get results fast and get something pushed to the table. But there's a
Or off
selfish
the table.
off the table. There's a selfish reason for everything. And the majority of people, when I got to these on-sites testimonials, was I just wanted selfishly, it was, I wanted to feel like me again. And so what that translates to is chiropractic helps me feel like me again. Well, then that really means that chiropractic makes you whole again.
I like that. Chiropractic makes me feel like me again.
That was a
That's good.
majority.
That's a good tagline.
When they said about the doctor, every doctor had a trend. It felt like family. They put me back together. But when it was about them, the patients, the common trend was, it was, I wanted to feel like me again.
Yep.
So thus we're always losing, feels like we're always losing or grasping who we are, because obviously as we get older, like that's one of the biggest things. Like I want to feel like I'm 20 again. Why do recreational drugs selfishly and serving? It makes, me and my wife have a conversation about that all the time, especially when I have down nights after doing recreational drugs and I have that or drinking heavily. I'm never doing that again, which we've all said multiple times. But why do I feel the need to do it self-serving? Well, I want to feel alive again. Like there's a feeling, right? And it's funny, we're in the business philosophically. You were just talking about this, like the old straights. You don't talk about your feelings, but we're in the feelings fucking business. No doubt about it. At least how we convey it.
We are in the feelings business, and I'm only trying to put out there that we're in all the feelings. I make
All the
jokes with
feelings.
my people when I'm doing the rehab and teach them how to use their diaphragm again. I'm like, we're going to be talking about your feelings, and I put my hand. We're talking about feelings. I'm like, literally, we're
I love
talking
that,
about
Melba.
feelings, like how it feels to do stuff. But I remember one time I laid down on a table. I had this old doc. I wanted to tell him, like, because I was hurting. Like I was like, I need some work. And they're like, what? I don't care about how you feel. Literally, they said those exact words to me. And I'm like, okay, that's like the last thing anybody wants to hear. before someone lays their hands on them. I don't care. You know what I mean? And that was just
Yeah.
a terrible adjustment for me after that. So we can't go so far to the extreme to say that, we don't care about people's feelings and their pain. We have to acknowledge these things. And to not acknowledge it, I think we're doing a disservice to the patient. But can we still acknowledge that and still get all up in the feelings about what that feeling is doing to them about other feelings? Can we draw them down the line? Can we take that train from station pain
Yeah.
to station mental? I think that's possible.
Yeah. I'm with you, dude, on that. I'm with you completely.
And then last thought here. Let's take it to that next level when you're talking above Atlas. Let's look at one of the most notorious chiropractors on the planet, Joe Dispenza.
Yeah.
He's all above Atlas. And he has a huge worldwide following for it.
Yeah, I mean, and that came out of, when I was at Mile High, I rekindled a relationship with Dr. Alok Trivedi, who was one of my early partners in Chiro Sushi. He's got a program he's certifying chiropractors through for the above the Atlas, mindfulness, basically mindful wellness, I guess would be the term I would call it. I don't know,
I like
probably
that.
mindful wellness. And,
That's good. You're dropping all the good words today.
I have a dudette who's in the psychiatry space I work with and I've worked with for years who's just told me, like, she says she sees chiropractors should be in that space because, one, it's recession proof. It ain't going anywhere. Two, she's starting to see results from her patients that get chiropractic care combined with, her allopathic model. But, well, it'll be interesting to see in the next 5 to 10 years where this goes. But I think we're going to see more chiropractors promoting, selling, serving that mental wellness stake of that field, because again, it's a territory. And it's funny. It's so funny because, like, you got all these drugs that have been put out there for years and they're realizing that they never done anything. They actually make things worse. So
of course we know that.
Well, we knew that, but the consumer market's starting to figure that out.
You know what I love to tell people? All the drugs that they're making, you can make yourself inside of you, given the right environment. And the communication.
Dude, if I
can
can figure out how to make meth inside me, Melba, we need to have a conversation about that, because I'll tell you what, I was telling that to someone the other day. They go, what? They thought one of my things was, they're like, I thought you loved cocaine. I'm like, no, dude, I'll tell you what I really fucking love is meth, man. Meth is fucking amazing.
I bet if you jumped in and out of an ice cold plunge like 15 times in a row.
You think so? Okay.
I think. And then just jumped in a hot tub right after that, I'm pretty sure there'd be a bunch of stuff going through your body.
Well, there'd be something going on with my heart probably at that point, just like meth would do. But, I can't.
Because again, all that stuff in the end, like it does have a chemical reaction with us. So, I mean, somewhere inside of us, we could probably invoke the same thing if, like, the physiologic conditions were right. Because it's just making a physiological change, right? So how do you invoke your sympathetics? How do you get all those?
This is exciting.
How do you get all
Maybe
those?
I figured it out finally.
All this cold plunge stuff, dude. All this cold plunge stuff. I'm always like, I'm not into cold plunging. I think it's dumb. And I'm like, why would you want to put yourself in a life-threatening situation? And I'm like, oh, I know why. I know why. Because they want to get high. They're getting high off their body's own endorphins and opiates and all the things that the body surge in to keep it alive so it can overcome that thing, right? So you get all this stuff pumped into you, and then you're like, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that just sold me. So now I'm going to start plunging. Well, we have our first guest.
I can't wait to hear about this. I think we should do it on video.
We have our first guest next week, Kim Thor Adams.
Who is it?
Kim Thor Adams.
Sweet.
What do you think we should, because we got to be different than we can't do what everyone else does, Melba. We got to ask her. So, like, I want to ask her about her favorite sex positions and stuff like that. She said nothing's off limits except one thing. But what should we be asking? What should we be asking Dr. Kim about chiropractic, about the business of chiropractic, the politics, the philosophy, the science?
Oh my God, I think that we should have a separate conversation about this and prep ourselves.
Well, I think we should just do it live right now. So I'm thinking about asking what her favorite sex positions are, what her favorite drugs are. No, I'm just joking, guys.
I wouldn't ask her about drugs.
No, I think some chiropractors I know are the best drug takers in the world because they know how adaptable they are.
Yeah, but I mean, everybody's different obviously everybody has their own level of comfort, but like the fact that we all have state boards and you start
Well,
talking
yeah,
about
okay, I'll stay
drugs,
out of
which are
that.
100%
Jesus, that's why
illegal.
you're here. Thanks for bringing me back in. I appreciate that. Well, we'll prep beforehand on that.
And sex positions too. I mean, there are specific laws in most states about at least not having sex with your patients. I don't know, like I feel like
God
those. I
damn it,
know
I
that
wouldn't be
I
here if
know
my
you want to
dad didn't
talk
have.
about sex, drugs, and rock and roll, but you're dealing with doctors, dude. And the reality is,
I
like,
know, that sucks.
there's always going to be some boundary. I think.
You
I don't
know,
know.
it sucks.
That's why I wear a wig and sunglasses so my patients don't actually know who I am. And in fact, I'm freaking like with a patient today, and I do a lot of pelvic floor and then like
Yeah.
pelvic type of muscle stuff. And he tells me that he tells his wife, he's like, "Oh yeah," and then she puts her hands down my pants. I'm like, "Whoa, no, I
God,
don't.
no.
No, I do not. My hands are over the top of yours on your pants." I was like, "You didn't say that. Did you actually say that?"
Yeah. Well,
Oh my God,
I
dude.
left you last week with you're talking about getting involved in insurance. Has that changed any since then, or?
No, I ran into a problem because I'm actually registering for Medicare. I'm like, fuck it, I'm going all in at this point. But I have a business license problem, so I have to wait for that first. I had to
Yeah.
change my LLC name in Georgia, so I'm waiting on all that. But yeah, I think I'm at least gonna start with Medicare. We'll see what happens, and decide on the rest of it. But I think that, because of recession type stuff, I have a feeling that that's really gonna be a huge seller.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was going to scare the
'Cause
shit out of you because I just saw a day ago Dr. Thomas Graziano, 59, was sentenced to 5 years probation in order to pay full restitution for $718,000 in fraudulent billing.
to Medicare.
I think it's Medicare. I can't get the full article because you got to pay to one of those pay to play news articles.
Medicare. See, that's always been my fear, but it's like also like if anything ever happened, basically they could still go back and make you pay the money back that you overcharged the patient.
Here's another one. Rob Stitt pleaded guilty in Manitoba. All those Canadian chiropractors pleads guilty to So I guess totally don't put cameras in your office now. Pleads guilty to voyeurism after hitting cameras found in office. Oh, 67. Gave his guilty plea to one count of voyeurism. I didn't know you could get
Well, I
arrested
think
for.
that if you have like consent and you say, hey, there
Yeah.
are cameras in this office, people can sign anything.
He had it in the ceilings of his treatment rooms, disguised as sprinkler heads, man.
Ooh, well, what's he doing in those treatment rooms?
As there to be upwards of 3 different unknown females disrobing. One of the females was facing the camera with her breast exposed. Police seized
That's
5
what he's
sprinkler
doing.
heads. In December 2024, holes were still visible in the treatment rooms. Well, always crazy stuff going on in the world of chiropractic and Google News.
Man, I can't even imagine. Like, I just don't even get people. Like,
Yeah.
anyway, so to the point that I was saying earlier, everybody has a different level of what they're willing to, where their boundaries are at as a doctor.
Yes, I get it. Well, we'll be next week with our first live guest. Guys, thanks for tuning in. As always, put your reviews up, give us those follows and subscribes, do all those goofy things that everyone tells you to do because they help make it work. And thank you guys for listening and jamming with us today. We'll see you next week.
Peace.
Peace.